Would you say that leadership in Nigeria generally, speaking now, hasn't made enough sacrifices? Because the picture I get is that with sacrifices, we could move mountains, we could achieve anything. So could it be the case that the leadership, broadly speaking, hasn't made certain required sacrifices, or is it the people, the followers, that haven't done it? Where did we need, or do we need to plug gaps?
Okay, thank you very much. I'll just take a minute or so just to speak on some of the key other important issues that have just been mentioned. I think the first one is the universality of values, which Reverend Hayab just spoke about. And this universality of values, they are embedded in the religions. They are embedded in the faiths. In my little understanding, I'm not a scholar as them. So what they said is absolutely correct. These values, these universal values, are not just religious values, but they are fundamental human values that are embedded in humanity, and which you find them very central to all the religions of the world. Now, if you look at the African society, there is this concept which we call the Ubuntu. The Ubuntu is an indigenous African concept where communities, individuals do not compete. They cooperate. So generally the approach of Africans to many issues is cooperative rather than competitive. It is the recent economic developments or economic models that brought in the issue of competition, and which we took it beyond what it is at the industrial or manufacturing level, and then we brought it even into any other issue of our society. And I think it has not helped African societies enough, because we are not that much industrialized like some other countries. So this concept of cooperation, sacrifice, and cooperating together. For example, in my community, it is always said that if you are the richest in your community and all your neighbors, like Ustaz Sadiq just said, if all your neighbors are poor and you are the richest, then you are a laughing stock among your community in any typical African society. Because the expectation is that once you amass wealth, that your personal wealth should become a communal wealth, which you should deploy to build up and strengthen your entire community. So once you are a wealthy community, then that is your pride. It's the pride of everybody that all the community members within his society work together. And that is why in any typical African society, when you go to agriculture, you find the young people doing, I don't know what it's called, gaya in Hausa language. And you hear a lot of people being called gaya, gaya, gaya. It is from that concept of cooperating, working together to farm for everybody. So if in this rainy season I am sick, my sickness will in no way affect my yield for that year, because all my community members will cooperate to cultivate crops for myself. If I am sick, all my animals will be taken care of by my relatives, by people around me. So nobody is at a loss at any point in time because of this concept. Now, coming back to the issue of leadership and the level of sacrifice between the led and the leader, I think in Nigeria today, just like Dr. Joseph earlier mentioned, it's a big challenge. And this challenge is not just about the leadership or the followership, but I will go back again to Reverend Hayab. It is a problem of values. It's a problem of orientation. What I do, what I say, and what I fail to do is not necessarily my own thinking, but how I am brought up. The kind of values that were embedded in me, the kind of upbringing that I have, the kind of societies and peers that I relate and and work with in everyday life. There are societies where you cannot steal, not because you don't want to steal, but because there is no room even for you to steal. There are some societies where you cannot act in a certain way, not because you don't want to act in that way, but because the larger society have no room for you to act in that way. And I think this is the foundation of the religions, and this is why religions set up structures and values. This is why societies set up structures and values that will control. So overall for me, like I always say, we have to go back to our education system. We have to go back to our family system. And we have to go back to the way we do things in our various bureaucracies in such a way that the system of accountability that used to be there, where every personnel within the civil service, within the bureaucracy, has a role, and that role is sacrosanct, and no director can undermine that, no commissioner can undermine that, no governor can undermine that. If we go back to those basics, I think we will find a very perfect society and a perfect leadership. So it's the entire system, not just the not just the followership, but where we miss it all is in organizing our society and creating these right values.